Welcome to another My Outlander Purgatory recap. This week, we continue our Season 6 coverage with a recap of Episode 603, Temperance. Ready? Then pour yourself a wee dram, settle in, and let's do this! Hi everyone!
Hey everyone!
I'm Tracey.
I'm Carol.
And we are My
Outlander
Purgatory! Carol, how are you today?
I'm fantastic.
On this fine, glorious St. Paddy's Day. That was really bad. Yes, if you wondered why Carol and I are both wearing green, today, when we are recording this video, it is St. Patrick's Day. Carol, what are you drinking to celebrate?
50% Irish because I am a genealogy dork and have done DNA tests at multiple sites. And the one thing I do know is that we are absolutely 50% Irish. Tracey, I felt like I should be doing whiskey, Irish whiskey. Then I was like, maybe I'll do an Irish coffee. I've got Bailey's in there. And when push came to shove, I wanted a margarita. Icy cold goodness. How about you?
I was with you on the icy cold goodness because I'm wearing a sweater and it's kind of warm, and I normally around like 3/4 of the way through these like start to get the sweats, and it's just not pretty.
Yes.
But the Bailey's, I should have thought of that. Damn it.
Well, there's always the next drink.
Yeah, but then then I'd have to stop and go make something, and that's stupid. I should have had a cocktail. Anyhow,
you guys. How clear does Tracey's hair look right now? Katrina doesn't have that gray hair, but Tracey does. Look at her hot streaks.
Only Katrina knows what gray hair Katrina does or does not have. True,
but she's so young.
And her hairdresser. Only Katrina and her Clairol.
Don't ever wash that gray right out of your hair.
I wash that gray out of my hair every 40 shampoos-ish, whatever. But anyway, so I totally didn't even think of the Irish whiskey, or I would have, the Bailey's, or I would have done that because I think I have Bailey's downstairs. But I just went with, the best I can do is a green bottle. And this is called, now I have to read it. It's from a winer. It's from a winer named Charlotte Dalton. And this is, it's called Love You, Love Me is the name of it. And it's a Similian. And it was interesting because I belong to this wine club at home. And the wine, every month we have like a Zoom with some winer person that's related, and it was Charlotte Dalton.
That's so much fun.
Whoever the Charlotte Dalton person is.
That's fun.
And the wine itself is pretty good. It's this white wine. Very crisp, very lovely, very cold, which is good, which is what I wanted. So hopefully we'll avoid the sweats. But I am ready to talk about this maybe I'm not ready to talk about this episode. I am ready to talk about this episode, Temperance. I'm having no temperance tonight, yo. The temperance is not happening. Before we start, Carol.
Yes.
Would you like to remind these fine folks at home about subscribing to our YouTube channel?
Oh my God. I'm so glad you thought of that so early in the video.
What I didn't think of, taking these things off.
I'm just going to say this. All right. Please subscribe. I just look at the number and I'm like, Tracey, did I not? 10 years ago, I was like, I don't care. I'm doing this for subscribers. I'm not doing this to compete. I just want to have likes. And honest to God, that was the truth. And that still is the truth. But you can't do cool, fun stuff without the subscribers. They won't let you. So we really, really need subscribers. If you guys have any ideas of how to get them, I don't know. People do like contests. That used to be, and I am going back probably 10 years. It used to be like and share, and you can't participate in the contest unless you're a subscriber. We could try it. We could do it.
They still do that all the time. It's like and share. You could win $1 million. You just have to like this 5 million pages and tell all your friends to as well. And they say like and share. Like, I love this on TikTok. They're like, okay, you know, they do like part one of this really poignant or funny or whatever, or suspenseful TikTok. And then they'll be like my page
share for the answer.
Part.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You guys, you can win $1 million or a mop t-shirt.
Well, speaking of mop t-shirts, Carol, would you like to talk about the other big news of the week?
So after many, many moons, I finally got the mop shop back up and running on myoutlanderpurgatory.com. Used to have it forever ago. And if any of you guys remember or even have some of those shirts, the company I use, I won't say, but the company I use went through a major platform change, like, I don't know, 5 years ago or something. My head was in the clouds, and bottom line, all my designs went bye-bye. So, and they were like, sorry, we emailed everyone. So, but I just found something the other day on my phone that has all of them. So I'm going to be finding all those old ones too. So it's a lot of fun. Go check it out. And what I did was, I didn't used to have mop shirts. They're kind of cute. Little wine glasses.
They are, you can check them out on myoutlanderpurgatory.com / do you remember? Mop shop. Just go on myoutlanderpurgatory.com and there's a tab on there. There is what? Oh, it's the front slash.
Yeah, because it's going front ways. Front is that way. Well, in this video, it's probably that way.
Whatever. Just go on myoutlanderpurgatory.com and look for the mop shop.
There's a tab. There's a tab on the top.
At the top.
Yeah, right next to. I think I might have a Prime Tours tab too.
I just ordered my shirt, my first of the new wave shirts. I don't remember which one I did, but I did a little tank top, little flowy tank top that was super cute in pink. So have at it, you guys. People's birthdays are coming up. People's anniversaries are coming up. Jamie's birthday is coming up. I think, yes, Jamie's birthday is May 1st. So get one for Jamie's birthday so you can celebrate. Anything else, Carol? Any other announcements that we need to discuss?
I don't think so. I think I'm good. As if you're good. We were nothing.
Oh, that has my curiosity peaked. Oh, that was the other thing. Okay, so we totally listen to you guys. Like, I'm sure at least you can't. I mean, I just don't have time to like everything on Twitter, but we go through and read. We read everything. And we do go through all the YouTube comments and read and like everything. And there were a lot of YouTube comments about our backgrounds on the new Zoom platform and how y'all missed my shelf of disgustingness. My shelf of crap. And y'all missed Carol's kitchen. So
and y'all missed Pocket Jamie.
Yep, we have heard you. You shared with us, we listened, and there you go. We're back.
We hear and we obey.
We see you. We feel you.
I see you.
And the backgrounds were more fun, but we do it for you.
Well, we get it. We get it. Our wine classes, it's a little crazy. And I can't
see our wine at all time. Look, this is how I can tell.
This way and that way. And I fully admit 1,000% that I am a hand talker, always have been, always will be. So there's no way I can stay still. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you earlier, was I have to promise in front of these fine folks that you'll never get mad at me if the recording doesn't work. I hate being the one doing the recording. I'm terrified it's not going to work.
Should I record too? I don't think I can. If you're
doing it the same way we always have. We
did it exactly the same way last week. I know you just can't even, you guys, you don't even know what it's like to be old and have to deal with technology. And I'm good at technology and she's good at technology, but this is super scary. Like when you press record, and I'm just hoping that all these texts are not going to show up on your recording. That's what I'm really hoping, but okay, whatever.
All these texts?
Yes.
You mean from your sister?
Yes.
From third sister Jill?
Yes, the ding, 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 ding. See, if I was watching someone's video and people were texting them constantly, I would be complaining about that. I would be like, I love you guys, you're so funny, but the frickin' texts are super annoying and they have to go.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
We're doing the best we can. All right, let's get to it.
I don't know if the texts show up on your computer. Nobody cares. Okay, let us start because there's lots and lots of goodness to get through in this episode.
Yeah.
All right, we are jumping in. It is episode 603, Temperance. The writer is Shauna Fuel, and the director is Justin Malaknikov. I just have one question that hit me in the credits, which was why aren't Malva and Alan Christie not in the opening credits? Why are their names in the like ending credits? Given that Malva had more lines than probably half the cast in this episode.
You're reminding me of the Gary Shandling show, Lord of Mercy on him. This is the theme to Gary show, the opening theme to Gary show.
It is. Well, this is the opening theme to Jamie and Claire show, and Malva should be in it. And like, I mean, she had more to do than Brie, that's for sure. And Brie gets in it. No, I just, because they're both so good too. Jessica Reynolds and Alexander Vlahos.
I think I want to say Vlahos, but I don't. And I apologize to him, and we're still apologizing to Sam Heughan for messing his name out years ago. And Katrina Balf's brother, wasn't it Katrina Balf's brother or cousin, corrected us on YouTube when he first got cast?
Like way early on. Like, that's a video you have to search through. And we were like, Catriona? And he's like, hi, I'm a brother, and it's Katrina. Thanks, bye.
And I'm not laughing that we messed up her name. I'm mortified at that, but it was kind of funny because we were such dorks.
No, I do think though, if they make it to season 7, Jessica, Alexander, look at me. If you get into season 7, renegotiate that contract. Don't worry about the money. Get in the opening credits.
Okay. And Alexander, if you get into season 7, ask for more than 4 lines an episode. Jesus, he's one of the best talents on the show, and I'm hearing nothing from him.
And here was his scenes tonight.
Oh my God. You guys, I swear to God, go. Okay.
I swallowed the wrong way. Sorry.
Go, she was so fangirling over Alexander. Just go watch Versailles. You're going to be like, I can't believe all they have this guy doing is like milling wood and like saying 4 words. Like, it's like, well, I mean, he wasn't Merlin, for God's sake. I mean,
in their defense, Alan really isn't in that much of the book. He really is not.
I
mean,
he's so cute.
You don't really see him too much until, unless you need to. We'll just say that. Okay. So our Easter egg is a fire with a tool burning in it.
Stoking fire.
We find out pretty early on what that means, but we'll get to that. So we open on a big stream, big river.
With Moses in
a basket. Floating down the river.
That was scary.
I have so much to say about this. Like, this is another thing. I think last week was exactly like this, where like the biggest issue for us like happened right in the front end, and we spent like 45 minutes talking about it.
Yeah.
And this is another one where the first thing here, I have a lot to say. So it's Henri-Christian in the basket. There's a bunch of boys, Germain and Aiden included, who are like kind of running after it, but they don't seem to be in any hurry to like, try to like get the basket and Moses out of the river. They're just like, come on. Here he goes. He's going down this way now. Roger sees, and thank God Roger is not of that mindset. Roger's like, holy shit. Did you love how he jumped off the over the fence?
Oh my God. Roger was like, goodbye.
He was so everyone. Manly in this episode. He was so manly.
I just want to watch a show about Roger because that was hot.
I know.
Roger really was like this episode. I'm telling you. And you know what? I'm sorry, but his Scottish accent is so awesome.
It is sublime.
I don't know why I say the T's. Would it be Scottish? His accent is so good that I just sit here like, oh, and you know what? Ian's is too, because isn't he from Paisley? Did I just make that up in my head?
I don't know.
I think he might be from Paisley, but I'm not sure. All right, anyway. He sounds like Tom's cousins, who I love, and I'm going to see in May. Yay. Go ahead.
Woohoo. Okay. So Raj jumps over just like a gazelle, jumps over the fence, jumps in the water, swim. It's going. The boys are like, look, it's going. More swim. Like, oh, it's going around that bend. Wait, let's meet it off at the pass. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, the boys are going to like jump in and rescue it when it gets off the pass.
Why? Why would you think that? Why would you think that? They think it's the devil.
Because, well, I don't know that now. It's all weird now.
Okay.
It's still all weird. It's like, why aren't you boys doing anything? Why is this like fun? Why is this like you know, tossed in a leaf or a paper boat and are seeing where it goes? There's a kid in there.
Were you with us the time we were at the mall with, I think, Rusi and a couple of the bricks, and there was some little kid like in a stroller, like moving.
Oh yes! Oh my god!
And they were like this close to going over, and
somebody
like mom or Rusi, somebody grabbed the stroller, and like mom and Rusi went off on like us and the bricks.
No, if I remember, the mother, like I don't know where the mother was, but she came over. And mom and Rusi is our mom's friend, is our family friend. And they were like, oh my God, you know, and the mother was just like, oh, thanks.
Yeah. But no, we got a rash of shite for not stopping this, for standing here and watching it happen. I was a little young, but you and Jill definitely. And they got mad at us for just standing there watching, gaping. We didn't know what to do. We were little kids. But they were the ones who put him in the water.
Coincidentally, the whole like, oh yeah, thanks, bye, reaction is kind of the reaction of some people on the ridge too. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Say about that.
Yeah. So how much did you love? So okay, they fake you out where the basket goes over, but of course the baby is not in it. I'm already getting hot. God damn it.
The babe is in Roger's hot
hands. And
being
Roger
baptized. I want to be baptized by Roger.
So Roger, I mean, this is so awful. This is so me. Like, this is so the me part of me that I don't really even think exists. But like, that is like Roger's being all rough and tumble and yelling at those kids. It's super hot.
Oh, that part exists. I was going to say we're going to bring it out in Scotland, but maybe that's Roger, just me. That's me I'm talking about.
Roger goes off on the kids. Like, I was just like, oh, yeah, be rough with me, Roger. It's so great. So so this, I'm just watching this. Let me just say, this is not in the books, you guys. This part is new to us. And if it is in the books, please correct me, because
I was like, wait, yeah, I don't, it was very Scotland. It reminded me, I'm just going to say it now. It reminded me of like Galus, and it reminded me of the, and this was true, the way they used to leave their babies out.
Yes.
If the baby was sickly, they would leave the babies out and see if the fairies came and took it, AKA the wolves.
Right. And this, you're absolutely right, and it's where I tried to get my mind through this whole, you know, the next 5-10 minutes of this episode. But anyway, the boys,
and they think that it's like bad luck.
They think he's a demon seed. They think he's
and they didn't think, I mean, I don't know what these people centuries ago went through in their brains, especially the mothers, you know, our day and age, we're like, oh my God, the mothers must have been, well, maybe not. Cause they thought, oh no, this demon child is going to bring bad things upon our home. So sit out at the tree and yeah.
Well, all right. So of the little kids, one was your mom, one was Aiden, and the three others were like some other Fisherfeld kids. So I'm trying to think how it went down with the little boys. And they were all like anywhere from like, what, 5 to 7, say?
Yeah. And Germain was younger.
I think Germain was like I think Germain's 4. I think Germain's got to be 5 at this point. I mean, if he's 4 and they're letting him run around with other kids unsupervised, I mean, even in 17, whatever, you know. So I tried to picture in my head how this all went down. And all the kids, like I said, they're 5 to 7 years old, maybe.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the little fisherfolk kids are like, your brother's the devil, or he's the spawn of the devil. And Germain is like, no, he's not. And the other kids are like, okay, I know how we can prove it. We'll put him in this basket and you put him in that water. And if he floats, then he's the devil. And if he doesn't float, he's not the devil. And Germain was like, okay, that sounds good. How is Germain as a 5-year-old, like, even as I mean, you had children at 5, would they do this? Would they be like, okay, that sounds like a good plan?
Number one, I don't know if he's 5. 1 minute he seems like a lot older, and the next minute he seems like he's not. But no, it would be somewhere in between. I mean, if it was trying to put your baby brother in the water, kids though,
I know. It was 75,
and he was a dwarf, and they thought that he was. You know, and that was what I kept thinking the whole time I was watching this, was like, how's Germain just like sitting here, like putting up with this crap?
And even like, Aiden, I'm sure knows,
but they're
Henri-Christian a little more.
They're kids. I thought it was a bit extreme. Like, I thought maybe they could have come up with something else, unless it really was in the books and we're forgetting. But it was a raging freaking river. It was like the freaking Schuylkill during Sandy, okay? There were white cats. I mean,
Meryl Streep in The River Wild could not have saved Germain's Henri-Christian's ass.
I'm just getting into position.
Yes.
He would have gone over, forget Bridal Creek. There go, what the hell do they call the rapids? I don't even remember now, and I love that movie more than life itself. So
like couldn't you have just like stuck him in a little lake, like a little crick or something? Like,
yeah, well, that's what, yeah. I thought that a test, like a more believable test, would have made this more believable. Like,
yeah,
you know, like do something dangerous. But because I kept going back to like the odds of Roger seeing this happen, let alone saving the kid, were 1,000,000 to 1. 1,000,000 to 1.
Right.
If Roger hadn't been there,
right,
the kid would be dead.
Right.
The kid would be dead.
Excuse me.
And like,
well,
that's just mind-boggling to me. And like, no, I'm sorry. I buy the whole, like, let's test him out to see if he's the devil. Great. But you do something that is a lot more, not going to kill him super easily.
Right.
And B, something that like, it's going to be easier for them to be caught, you know?
Yes. This was TV writers. This is taking something to the extreme. And I will say this, I'm going to make a blanket statement about the entire episode. It was kind of slow moving. Like, it wasn't one of these episodes that is like last week when like 17 things from the book showed up in the episode. So maybe they did it like they thought, we gotta jazz this up a bit. You know what I mean? I don't know.
That's an excellent point. That is an excellent point, because I actually think that this episode, I mean, I agree with you. It was slow moving. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I thought it was extremely character driven.
It's not a bad thing. And I've said this for years, for you and me and all the book readers, but for people who are only TV watchers, they must have been like, oh, is this a little bit of a sneak this week? Because I think about the people who, only the watchers who don't read. I'll be very interested. Is Jill watching yet? Our third sister, Jill. Like, I'll be very interested to get opinions of people who haven't read the books to see what you thought about this episode. And I'm not crapping on this episode either. I'm a book reader. I love it. I love all of it. So,
well, somebody in the comments last week, in the YouTube comments, said they're out because it's just boring to them. Even last week, which we were like, oh my God, we love it so much. And I really did like this episode, but I even wrote down, what I wrote down here is, this is everybody's Emmy reel. This episode, because the acting was sublime. There were great scenes, like every twosome, like they paired everybody in different pairs, and they all had fantastic scenes.
Right.
I mean, we'll get to the scene with Claire and Fergus, but like, give me a better acting job than what Cesar Dumboy, but I can't say anybody's name, did in that episode. Give me better acting. You won't find it. It was fantastic. So, you know, I feel like, and I also feel like this episode was setting up a lot of stuff too. Like you could tell this was very like, remember that.
Yeah.
But that's a good point that I could see them in the writer's room being like, hey, you know what? This episode's kind of slow.
Let's jazz it up a bit. Make
let's
Roger
jazz it up by putting in the river Nile. And baby Moses floating down the river Nile. But it just, I wish they had thought of a different way, because I just kept going back to the fact that Roger spotting it and seeing it and saving it as saving him, was the odds were like astronomically low that was gonna happen. And if it didn't happen, the baby was dead.
You need to suspend disbelief in this. Not you, just anyone. You need to suspend disbelief.
I know.
Honestly, I didn't even think that way, because I didn't even let myself think that way, because I was like, whatever, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, it's TV. They want to keep us interested.
Yeah, I know. I get it. I kind of,
and also all of TV does that. Everything goes to the extreme to make an impact. They wanted to make a statement. You know what I mean?
Right. It was certainly impactful. But well, I guess part of my problem with it comes, as we're about to talk about. So, Roger baptizes the baby and he's like, look, he's not a devil, because he's, you know, I just baptized him, and like, he didn't like, you know, his head didn't spin around 2 times and toss me out a window or something like that. Like, I'm surprised Roger didn't go.
The power of Christ compels you.
Oh my God. Germain. I mean, why do I want to call him Germain? Henri-Christian, the power of Christ compels you. No, so maybe it was the reaction that we got that coming up here. So so they go back to the house, you know, Roger yells at Germain, and I'm just like, whoo.
Roger is giving me a lot of feels this season. Holy cow. I did not expect this. We are on episode 3, and I am like, Roger,
do you want Tom Christie's belt to like tan my hide a little bit?
I know. I'll jump in the river. Will you save me? Damn. Well, you know, my man's got to get some attention somewhere, because he's always inside inventing shit. So it's no damn wonder he's walking along the river.
He was like chopping wood or something. It was just like, I mean, oh my, I can't go there anymore. Okay.
No, you know what? We shouldn't go there anymore.
I know. All right. So they get back. So he yells at Germain some more. Then they get back to the big house. And Claire, everyone starts coming out of the room where I guess Henri-Christian is. And Claire's like, well, they're okay. You know, he's okay. He'll be all right.
I yelled at my TV. Go ahead. Sorry.
And Jamie is like, this whole round of like, well, all's well then. I guess everything's great. Like Jamie says all is well. And I'm like, excuse me, Jamie, all is well? This child and a bunch of other children, like if it wasn't for Roger, who's now a hero, by the way, Jamie, and you can't make fun of him anymore.
Right.
If it wasn't for Roger, that kid would be, in pieces at the bottom of the River Wild over there.
Right.
Like, but so Jamie's like laughing.
This is what I started to say when I was accidentally interrupting you, because I literally have Claire says he's warm and dry and healthy and sleeping, and Jamie says all is well. I literally screamed at my TV. All isn't well, you dick. That's why I got so excited when you said that a minute ago. And you're like, I was like, yes, that all is well. Nothing is well. All is well. Upon hearing this news, your response is all is well. Honest to God. I guess he's like, look, if I'm not out there having to kill bears or something.
I am telling you, when he said that, and he didn't even say like all's well. He had like a little smirky, like, oh, oh, you crazy kid, you crazy Germain.
You know how kids can be. What the hell?
Oh my God.
This is one time he's not getting an 18th century break from me. Usually I'm the first one to go, hey, it was the 18th century. I don't care. I would have been out. And that whole, like, it was kind of cute the way he was like, oh, have the kids come to me, whatever. Oh, hell no. And I'm not one to go to people's houses, but I would have been, I'm the laird, and this is what they just did to my grandsire? Are you freaking kidding? The rents aren't too damn high. Because the rents are getting higher. And you're going to like it.
Yeah. Jamie ill-advised every step of the way on this particular part of the story.
Crazy.
Ill-advised every step of the way. I mean, he just should have shut his mouth, because like the more he opened it, we'll get some more choice things he had to say.
Jamie goodness.
But thank God for Marsali, because she lays into all of them.
Yes.
Marsali's like, excuse me? All is well? What the?
Yeah, when she did that, I was like, thank God somebody's got a brain in this
I know.
damn house.
She's like, no, all's not well. In fact, all is really sucky. Because so she's clearly not happy. And I wrote down here, like, I tried to mark like discussion thingies too. So as I watched this yesterday and I thought about it, and I was like, okay, is this one of these times where you and I often complain when we think that the show is pushing 21st century values or mindsets on an 18th century mindset? Is this me pushing my 21st century mindset on the show's mindset? In other words, back in season 1 in Outlander, obviously we remember that Jamie is beats Claire upon request, because he's told he has to.
Everybody was freaking out about it.
A lot of people were freaking out about it. And a lot of people, I think ourselves included, were like, of course you would freak out now, but at the time he didn't have a choice.
Diana has a word for that.
And is this an example of that, and where I am guilty of what I often say others do, which is impose your modern day sensibilities on something that would have happened in the 18th century, where I sort of almost had myself convinced last night. Then I watched it again today and I was like, no, it is not. Like the child almost died.
I think I would have been better if, like I said, it was a different body of water and it wasn't quite so like, duh. Like it's fast moving and it's going over there. You know,
Niagara Falls.
Oh no, look at the falls. Like they knew this kid was going to go over the falls. Like what the hell? Yeah, what do they think the baby was going to stand up and say?
I know. And I mean, the other thing that made me not agree with that mindset is because of Claire and Roger. Claire and Roger are not of the time. Claire and Roger are of the 20th century. Claire and Roger knows that this whole, like, it's the spawn of the devil business is a load of crap. And Claire has no problem pushing back when somebody offends her, delicate 20th century mindset, right?
You mean like, stay back, give us some air.
Yeah.
There's plenty of air because probably of COVID and you're all standing away from each other, but whatever.
I know, yes, exactly. Like this didn't, I mean, she didn't, nobody except for Marsali really made the point that this child almost came a hair close to dying. And all that, I don't know. I got nothing.
Okay.
No, in fact, Claire, I wrote this down. Oh my God. I wrote down, were they too easy on Germain? Yes, if not for Roger, the baby would have drowned. Claire, not only was Claire not like, there are no things as spawns from devils, and this was really bad. And, you know, and I'm not one for corporal punishment, but Germain needs to be like grounded for life. Not only did Claire not say that, Claire said the following. Thank God they didn't take him out of his basket. Oh, what? Because that would have been dangerous if they threw him in the river, not in his basket.
You know what? You're 1,000% right, but I suspended disbelief.
I wrote, how is Germain not getting the first brutal whipping of his life here?
Oh yeah.
Don't know.
Last week he wasn't going to sit down until next Sunday, but this week he throws his brother in the river and it's like, whatever.
You think Brian Fraser, if Jamie had almost drowned, well, Jenny's older, so I guess he wouldn't almost drown Jenny. Is Jenny? Yeah, Jenny is older. No, I don't know. Whatever. If Jamie had almost drowned some little 4-week-old baby, you think Brian Fraser would be like, oh, all's well?
Yeah.
Hell no. Jamie would have had a beating on his ass like there's no tomorrow and locked in the corn crib along with the guns.
His father would have had him sharpen the
oh yeah,
whatever he was going to hit him with.
Yeah, this is what I wrote down. Are we forgiving Germain because in 2022 you would have to talk to him about this? Is, you know, are we forgiving him in the show because that's what you do in 2022? A 5-year-old, you talk to him about his feelings, right. And you know, you have to understand that Germain, it's wrong. Here's why it's wrong to kill your baby brother.
Right.
or because in 1775, testing a possible devil was not totally unreasonable. And I think that is the case, but it was totally unreasonable to everybody in the room.
Right.
So that's my feeling. And we've hashed it to death. We've beat it to death, just like someone should have done to Germain's little ass, in my opinion. But agreed. There you go. So I agree with you. Jamie is like faux serious. He's not even like real serious. He's faux serious. He's like, tell your associates to meet me in my to make an appearance in my parlor before supper. He's like, watch this. It's going to be totally cute. Okay, Germain. Whatever. Anything else to say about the whole little scene?
No.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, sure.
I'm sort of growing more and more in love with Marsali and Fergus's cabin and would kind of like to live there.
Oh, that's funny because I didn't pay much attention to it.
It seems like it's definitely got a nice size, you know, living dining kitchen area. Seems like the bedroom, there's maybe a couple bedrooms and there seems like they're, from like what you can see of them out, seem pretty nice. Right. Yeah, it's a pretty decent cabin, I would say.
I'll have to go back and look because I usually kind of notice that with Roger and Breeze, but.
Okay. So now we get to the Fergus and Claire scene. What do you guys say about that?
That's all I got to say about that. Heartbreaking conversation between Claire and Fergus. I do have, it's the truth. Fergus has always broken my heart from day one. Book Fergus, show Fergus. Just, I don't know if show watchers who didn't read the books would be that invested in Fergus, but my God, I just, you know, he's like all of our, the the Fergus situation is kind of strange because he's really hot. And you're like, ew, it's Fergus. You know what I mean? But I mean, in the book, it's the same way. Hi, Fergus Moss. How are you? So anyway.
A t-shirt that is, by the way, available in the mom shop.
Fergus Moss. I'm reading my, it's frustrating because you can see how he thinks the way he does, and she can't fully explain to him why she knows for a fact that Henri-Christian is not the way he is because of anything Fergus did. And it's got to be so incredibly frustrating to her to just feel so helpless that she can't explain it. She got out. I was like, tell him something. And she did say, like, I'm a physician, but he's thinking, yeah, good for you. Like, he doesn't understand that she knows for an undeniable fact that him not being there when Lionel showed up has anything to do with, you know what I mean? So,
right. I loved that scene might be my favorite scene in the show, in the episode.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
He just hit it out of the park. I mean, first of all, I loved how like they made his issue so universal, where he was like saying, you know, when Claire's like, you don't think that you have to know that Jamie and I will take care of, like, Henri-Christian will never want for anything. Jamie and I will take care of him. And he's like, but you won't be around. And I won't be around.
Yeah.
And then what? And everybody has that issue, you know, whether you have children that you worry about, whether you have like parents that you are taking care of, and like, you know, what happens, or, you know, if something happens to the one parent, like what happens to the other parent, like, it's just, it hit me that it's just such a universal worry and burden and what everybody thinks about, you know?
Yes.
I do think this scene was straight from the books. I think he tells the story in the books of dwarfs occasionally at the brothel. I just loved it. I wrote down how I love how still they are in the scene. Like they just sat there and he told the story.
The story killed me. The story itself killed me.
The whole thing was so good. And I'm so glad that Cesar Domboy got this scene because, you know, I mean, like even like last season, I don't remember that Marsali and Fergus had that much to do. I mean, Marsali probably did a little more. I feel like Marsali's always been kind of the star of the couple. Yeah. And this really was a Fergalicious episode. And it was just so good. It was so good.
It just, oh my God.
I know. The little like tears in his eyes and the redness of them. And
right.
Next thing is knock knock. It's Tom Christie.
Oh my God.
Oh, hey Claire. Yeah, look at my hand. It's all better. So I'm ready to go under the knife now. I wish it was easy to make medical appointments in real life like that.
God, you and I.
Oh, hey, Dr. Mara, I'm ready to be examined now. So here I am.
We're the same person. First, I'm impressed with Tom Christie that he told Claire he doesn't believe in superstitions, because I beg to differ, but whatever. But I have, Tom Christie says he's ready to have his hand operated, and Claire's all, come inside. And can you imagine just showing up to the hospital? Like, I'd like you to fix my eye back. I mean, he literally I'm ready.
I actually had hand surgery years ago because I had a little tiny piece of glass in there for years and years. And I finally had it removed because it was hurting. And I had to make an appointment and wait for weeks to get an appointment with this hand surgeon. And then, you know, what about the pre-op and the post-op? He didn't have to have none of that. It was just like, here I am. I'm ready. Here you go.
Now you have like 17 pre-ops. And when you go for like the pre-op, they ask you a million questions. And then you show up that day and they ask you a million questions. And then somebody else comes in and you're like, but I just answered these same questions like yesterday and the day before. So yeah, Tom Christie got the blue light special. I'm going to tell you that
totally,
right now.
Totally. So, okay. Tom Christie's just really fascinating in this episode, and we learn a lot about him. And he's very he's a bit of an enigma because you just can't peg what he's going to feel or think. Surprisingly enough, he thinks what the kids did was wrong because he doesn't believe in superstitions. The baby is the spawn of the devil, whatever. Yeah. He regrets it. And he's going to, have a talk with the parents or whatever. And yeah, babies are not from devils, but ether is the devil's juice.
Really? Because I thought this was. But yes, ether is the devil's juice. Could you please tell me how Tom Christie, wait, was he the one? Was it him saying he knew what ether was?
Yeah, he knows what it is. The devil's juice. I think because anything that's in a brown, mysterious, unlabeled bottle must be the devil's juice. So
at what point are they going to start? He's going to let her cut into his hand.
Well, that's okay. He has the Bible. But he's going to read his Bible.
But he's not going to listen. He'll take her advice as far as, yes, you need this done. Let me just take my scalpel and cut into your hand. But he's not going to listen to her advice as far as the ether goes. Because for some reason, she's stupid about ether, but she's really smart about cutting into your hand.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so why is the ether the devil's juice, but the goo she puts on his hand to sterilize it?
That's fine.
I guess that's whiskey. And that is kind of the devil's juice too.
Okay. Have it written down somewhere in here. I was like, I'm sorry. Ether's the devil's juice, and drinking is so bad. God doesn't agree with drinking. But you could be doing shots with Jamie when she's about to cut into your hand, and that's fine.
I mean, I guess deep down, he's not completely dumb and he's not completely naive, and he does know that
he's just a little dumb.
If someone sticks a knife in your hand, it's gonna hurt. He had a little hand slash that she fixed up before, and that was no picnic. So figuring now that he's gonna actually ask her to do it again.
Oh my God.
Yeah, whatever. God will forgive him if he does that. But we're leaving out the best part of the scene by far, which is the part where Claire says something about, asking what if he's a masochist or something like that. Oh, yeah. And he's like, what is a masochist? And Jamie is walking in at that point. Jamie just kind of looked at her just don't. But I feel like Jamie and Claire, that look also said that Jamie and Claire have had discussions about masochism before. And I do know that they've had discussions about sadism because Claire called him a sadist, and he was like, I don't know what is a sadist, but shut up, or whatever he says. But that was way
Jack
back
Randall
in Outlander or Dragonfly or something.
And Black Jack Randall was a sadist.
Right. Okay, so Tom Christie is ixnay on the ether nay, not doing it, not going there. So Roger, Roger's holds in Germain's hand he's little innocent boy, could do nothing wrong. Okay, so they showed up and they tell Aiden, you round up the posse and be over at the Laird's house at supper time. And he's like, don't tell my mom, please. But he doesn't need to worry about that because mom has bigger fish to fry at the moment because her milk is possessed. Now, is it possessed?
Oh my God.
Because all right. First of all, we have to ask, Lizzie brought the milk. So is this some sort of statement on Lizzie, first of all? Do you think? Or is it just that the milk is possessed because anything could be possessed?
All right. Well, first of all, I want to go back a little tiny bit and say that it's so funny you were talking about Marsali's cabin, because I thought, wow, look at Amy's cabin that Brie invented for her. I was looking at that and I was like, this is beautiful. it's very simple and it's very whatever. I'm not thinking of the word.
Minimalistic.
It's very minimalistic. It's a synonym. It's a synonym of the word. It's brand new. She doesn't have anything to hang on the walls, whatever. I don't either. And I've been here for 28 years or something. But I also have that the 5 seconds between Amy telling Roger the milk is haunted and him actually taking the sheet off the top of it might be the funniest 5 seconds in all 6 seasons of Outlander. I was absolutely in hysterics watching this. So funny.
When Roger pulls it up and it's like makes it like a gurgly noise and he's like,
it was just between, it was before he did that. It was between her being like, the milk's haunted and him going like, oh, it was just so
now,
funny.
Hot or not?
Roger?
Yeah, at that point. Because he's going to save Amy too from the devil.
Once the baptism happened.
From the devil milk.
Once the baptism and the yelling happened, Roger's always hot. Roger, damn, my whole life has changed.
Okay. By the way, I think that Amy needs the minimalistic cabin because that way there's less stuff for the devil to take or haunt. So there you go.
True. And Amy is I have a kinship with Amy. Amy's angry. I get it. At one point, Amy was like all like, and I was like, I know, Amy, I'm with you. This widow bullshit for the birds. Where the hell's my Roger to come over and fix up my house?
What are you going to sit on the floor with the Roger?
My house could use some fixing too.
Oh my God. I just can't. Oh my God. Oh, I'm like Fergus crying here. Okay. All right. So yeah.
Oh
So
my God, that was my Tracey. That's my next note. Oh my God, I totally get Amy McCullum. I literally have written down, I am Amy McCullum. She sits on the floor and feels sorry for herself and questions God and the world. And then I drive down Route 35 playing my Korean K-pop really loud with a bad attitude and question God and the world.
Yeah, but at least Amy gets to do it with Roger sitting next to her. You have to do it like with Ian next to you.
I don't have anybody.
And it's not Ian.
I got nobody. I got BTS. That's all I got. All right, keep going.
Okay, so that's a super sweet scene. Roger's like, I'll take care of you, whatever. Now, I don't know. This isn't good in a way. I just think Roger is being just too kind. Roger's very kind. He's very tenderhearted, but like sometimes being kind to a woman that's not your wife and that is kind of cute and doesn't have a husband.
Yeah. Especially when you're really like
Roger.
Earnest and like you just don't get it. Your mind is somewhere either on the river with Henri-Christian or it's with the frog and milk, and you're not really understanding what's
I don't this is not I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're back at Marsali's house, and Bree has another invention that she would like to show you.
This came out of nowhere, and I was like,
this is actually from the books.
I couldn't remember it.
I don't remember if she invents matches like she did last week, but she does. I mean, I don't think she invents the spinning wheel. I think there already is one at that point, but she just made like some improvements in it. And I don't know, maybe there's a foot pedal on it now, or I think maybe that's it. So she makes it a little, easier to use. And Marsali.
And Marsali's actually impressed with her for once.
I want to know if Lauren Lyle had to have classes in how to do spinning, because she was like.
Did she go to Philadelphia Textile?
I don't know, but she was like, I mean, she's like, Bob Barker spinning the wheel on The Price is Right, like, or like
Drew
Wheel of
Carey.
Fortune.
She's Drew Carey.
Drew Carey, like zoom, zoom, zoom. No, she was really good, but that spinning wheel was actually very cool to look at. Like,
I wanted to see more of like what was going on with the spinning wheel,
right?
But they really didn't get into it.
But like, Marsali's super impressed, and Bree's finally made something that somebody can use, which is great. So then we get another. So that was from the books. Another thing that's from the books that I didn't even remember. And again, this is so little and so like insignificant in a way. But it's totally like Easter egg for the book readers, the vroom thing. So Roger or Bree, I don't remember who, makes Jemmy this like little toy car.
Yes.
Right. And they call it a vroom because that's the noise it makes.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously Marsali like isn't going to know what a car is because she doesn't know what an engine is because it hasn't been invented yet. So she's like, when she's like,
because Bree hasn't invented it yet.
Bree hasn't got around to engines yet. So that's why she's like, well, why do you call it a vroom? And Bree's like, because that's Jemmy says that's what he calls it.
Yeah, he makes that noise whenever he throws it across the room. Whenever he throws Henri-Christian in the river.
And the only other news of note there is Fergus has promised to stop drinking. So yay, Fergus. Okay, we got to move on because it is time for our surgery. Okay.
Yeah.
All of this is so great. Okay, so Tom is strapped in. He's all prepped for surgery. Dr. Claire is ready to go. I was like, Tom's like this. She's got him strapped in that thing, that like little hand holder thing. And here's how he's tied down. Wait, hold on a minute. Wait, I have to find something. Oh, here's a cord. Here's how he's tied down. Hi. Okay, don't move.
Yeah. Stay just like that while I cut into your hand.
Okay, because I'm sure that'll hold him down.
Yeah.
So he's like, he does take the whiskey, so good for Tom. So he kind of knows a little bit what he's in for, but Jamie's like, you sure you don't want more? You want me to hold you down? Or he's like, nope, I'm just gonna read my Bible and
I'm gonna pray away the pain.
It's all gonna be good. Don't worry. And Claire's like, okay. Here I go. And then we see it. And like, God bless the sound people at Outlander. You earned your keep in this episode because it was like this. And the minute she digs in, the sound that comes out of him is hilarious.
No, Kelly Clarkson!
It is so great. The whole thing is so funny. He is flipping out. Jamie's like, here, take a little more of this whiskey. Here, whatever. But I have to say, Jamie is so great in this whole scene. Don't you think?
But Jamie was awesome, but how come he can drink whiskey and he can't take the ether? What's the damn difference?
I don't know. In his mind, it makes sense. In his mind, it is being used for medicinal purposes. So, I mean, that's probably how it makes sense. But how ether is not being used for medicinal purposes, how that's the juice of the devil. Don't ask me again. Don't ask me. I was going to say maybe the liquor doesn't come in a brown dusty bottle, but it does. So I don't know. But he's just like, he's in for a ride, and we're in for a ride.
Claire should have fooled him and been like, put it in the other bottle and be like, yeah, it's whiskey, I swear.
Jamie was just so great though, when he's like, he takes over the Bible reading and he starts reading aloud to Tom Christie, and he's got his hand on Tom Christie's shoulder, like not even so much to like push him down or keep him still as much as to be like, I'm with you, I'm here for you.
Did that make you think of anything? I said, Jamie choosing a verse about, it was so fitting and perfect about the right hand of the Lord, was like us choosing the Pulp Fiction.
you ever tell that story? I'm sorry.
You guys, I know it's my fault. I am really going tangent-y tonight.
Story.
My husband loved Pulp Fiction and was literally on hospice and watched kicked us all out of the room and was like, come back tomorrow. And I came back the next day and I was like, did you sleep? He was like, no, I watched Pulp Fiction. and my husband did the best Pulp Fiction imitations that you have ever. It's a Royale with cheese. and he would do that whole, if you know Pulp Fiction, that whole verse where Samuel L. Jackson's like,
and I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brother.
So Tracey and I, the wise asses that we are, had to pick out some readings and, for the gospel, and immediately started Googling Pulp Fiction to try and find out. Well, it turns out it was a fictional verse, but they did take it from a regular.
No, it was like, it wasn't like quoted exactly. Because what we were like was like, because I mean, it's pretty violent in the movie. And we were like, yeah, but like maybe it's a little better in the Bible, in the actual Bible. Maybe it's not quite so bad.
Oh, it was worse, wasn't it? It was worse. But we did get like one line in there. So like, that's so terrible. But all I could think of, because Jamie chose that line about the right hand of the Lord. And it was just so fitting. And all I could, your brain goes to, when was the last time I had to choose a gospel verse? So
that still makes me laugh. I mean, it's very weird that like something like that, like picking out a reading for, a funeral service would make you laugh, but it does every time. So
and it does. And the fact that Tom Christie just had to sit there and take it. You know what I mean? Freaked me out that he didn't take the ether. And I get it. There's been times before when I've been like, I'm too afraid to do that. I'm not going to do that. So he just had to sit there. And as Edward would say, endure it. How do you say that? You know what I'm saying?
Endure.
He just had to sit there and endure it. And yeah, like when
much
you go
go ahead.
Much like when you go to the dermatologist and she zaps your capillaries and it hurts a little bit. Laser.
I was going to say, much like any woman who's like, no, I'm not taking the epidural ever.
Don't get me started on that.
Yeah. If you guys, any of you guys out there who have had babies naturally, weigh in. Would you rather go through that again or go through Tom Christie surgery? Which hurt more?
Oh, Lord. With no ether?
Well, I mean, if you have a baby naturally, you do it like natural with no drugs or whatever. I got to think that hurts every bit as much. I don't know.
It's just a different kind of hurt.
So.
It's just because it's natural. Like with him, like, she's cutting his like ligaments and stuff.
Oh my God. Oof. Yeah. All right. Okay. So where are we? Okay. So Malva is spying on the surgery. She's looking in the window and look, it's Ian. And they have a little bit of talk and he's like, well, I'll walk home with you. I'll see you safely to your house.
Oh, I love him so much.
I know. He's so cute. He's so cute. Is there a little spark there? I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing.
So we're back in surgery and Claire's done and it worked. And Tom will stay overnight in the surgery. I don't think that happened in the book, but
I thought it was pretty funny. I think it might have.
I don't really, maybe it did. I think
remember. It might have. I kind of felt like, maybe I made it up in my head, but I really felt like I remembered her talking, like going downstairs and having a conversation with him and sort of by the fire in her nightgown or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, it does sort of make sense back then. It was a real risk for infection. So you have to see in the first 24 hours if an infection is going to set in. Mm-hmm. So I get it. It totally was believable.
You have to wait and see if the infection is going to take in, so he won't take the penicillin.
Right. Yeah, because that's the devil's juice too. But, that's right. That's right. Well, I'm sorry. I just hit the table. I'm sorry. Whoever didn't like that. She would have had penicillin for him. Right? She would have had him on a 10-day regimen of antibiotics. There you go.
Yep.
But would he have taken that? I don't think so.
Well, if she would have said, look, I would think that she would have set that up beforehand and been like, look, I'm not doing this surgery if you're not going to take the penicillin, because you could very well die of an infection.
Right. Okay. So Malva and Ian chat on the way home, and we find out that Malva's mother was not a very good girl. In fact, she was hung as a witch.
Well, we know she was hung as a witch. That doesn't mean she wasn't a good girl.
And that doesn't mean she was a witch, as we have seen many a day and many a time.
Right.
So there's something there, but there's a little sparklet between the two of them. Would you agree, Carol?
I was sitting there watching. I think, I don't know. I felt like, number one, I felt like, oh, is he looking at her like, She's looks at everyone like, But I also, again, was like, was this in the books? Like, I don't remember in the books being like, oh, Ian and Malva. So we'll see.
I do feel that I think there was a little bit of Ian and Malva. I don't honestly remember if by book 6, we were getting Ian's point of view. So I don't know that, but now I guess maybe we did. I guess maybe we did have some conversations with them. I don't honestly remember, but yes, there was some sparks between Ian and Malva. Definitely some things explored there. Mm-hmm. So, okay, it's time for the big meeting of Aidan and his associates with the Laird. And the Laird has a bargain for them. Either you're going to touch this baby, this devil baby, or you're going to touch this hot poker.
Loved it. I was like, oh, okay, you've redeemed your stupid all as well, because this is fantastic.
I guess what would he have done? And somebody asked him this later on, but what would he have done if one of the kids was like, hell no, I'm not touching that devil child?
He would have told their parents. He chose.
Well, like he would have had to, because Claire would have to like treat them because their hands falling off.
I put it this way. Remember, they didn't want their parents to know. So
that's true. If that
had happened, their parents would have found out what the hell they did.
But their parents are going to find out anyway, because they're going to touch the devil child and it's going to like leave its mark on them. And their parents will see the mark when they go home.
Right. But instead, nothing happened.
Right. I know. I'm just being a wise guy. Yeah. And I was also like, if I'm Jamie and I just like watched Tom Christie scream all afternoon because he was afraid of taking the devil's juice either, it is a little more believable at that point that one of these kids is going to be like, oh, I'm not touching that devil child. Give me the poker. But anyway, none of them took that choice. They all went for the box instead of the curtain. They touched the baby. The baby's super cute. So they were like, oh, this baby's super cute. Like, what was I thinking? But then Jamie, to make sure that the punishment was clear and that they would never do it again, gave them honey and cakes on the way out.
Okay. I had a hard time with that. I was like, when was the last time you got bread and honey on your way out of being scolded by the Laird of the land? You go through this as a parent, as so many of you guys know. Like, you're like, was that the right? Should I have done that? Should I have said that? Like, maybe I shouldn't have given in a little bit, or should have given in more. I don't know. I'm like, what? That you just totally negated your entire punishment. You gave them sweets on the way out the door. They're going to be like, we'll come over and touch that kid or a hot poker anytime.
Jamie clearly missed the growing years, the like ages, 1 to like teens of all his kids, because he just doesn't get it.
He went straight to grandfather.
I know. He went
straight to grandsire and spoil.
Right. And that's what grandsire does. Grandsire does the faux, we've seen our dad pop up do this all the time. The faux scolding, and then they're like, okay,
we're still friends.
We're still friends. Here, have this candy. Here, have this sweet. Here's some ice cream. Yeah, you're 100% right. He's a grandpa. he approaches it as a grandpa.
Right.
I just was, when he was like, here, have this bread and honey and be on your way. I was like, oh.
Because he knew he scared the bejesus out of them. That's why he freaked them out.
Sure, whatever. Okay, great. I will say my one compliment in all this is that all those kids are cute as buttons, and they're all like at least decent actors. And because it bugs me when, and I mean, like, look, not every kid is going to be a great actor, but like, and when you get kids like, you know, the Sixth Sense kid or whatever, like really good kid actors, it's really good. But like all these kids were serviceable. So super cute, decent actors, all good. And we'll try to forget all of that now. All right. I don't think we have anything more to say about that. Yes?
No.
Okay. So Marsali gets home from wherever. Oh, I guess she went to pick up the Devil's Child, and bring him
This
home.
was terrible.
This was really well. I got a lot to say about this. So Fergus has, fallen off the wagon, shall we say? And he's pretty deep in. He's pretty loaded. And all the kids are like, you hear all these kids in the bedroom. I guess Fergus like just made them go in there, like, we're hungry.
Please, sir. please, sir, may I have some more?
Please, sir, may I have some more?
I'm so hungry.
So these poor kids like haven't eaten anything, and Fergus is just sitting there drinking his life away, much like we are right now. I know, right? So they proceed to have this knockdown drag out, and it was a good reminder of why Fergus and the drinking is a big problem for Marsali, because her childhood was really affected by her mother being married to someone with a drinking problem who like beat them and was mean to them and whatever. And so when she says like, I won't make her mistakes, or whatever she says, like to Fergus, like, I'm not going to fall into that trap. That's not going to be me. You really do understand it a little more. But then she tells Fergus the Lana Brown story. What'd you think of that?
Oh my God. I don't think she should have done that.
Really?
Fergus didn't like it.
Fergus didn't like it, but Tracey did. Tracey was like, I wrote down, Fergus is like, you scare me now. Marsali, and then Tracey's like, Marsali is so fucking, sorry, but I have to say it, she's a fucking badass. I don't know what to do with myself.
First of all, I'm jumping back for a second that I have Marsali. Here's Marsali. How can I help you? Here's Fergus. I'm supposed to help and protect you. Me to Fergus. Stop whining and do it. I am getting a little tired of Fergus sitting around talking about how he should be protecting her. STFU and protect her then. What the hell are you doing?
Snap out of it.
And when she told him that, I was a little like, oh no, because I'm worried that he's going to think that Henri-Christian, is the dwarfism is her fault. Remember, he was blaming himself
because it's the devil punishing her for killing him.
Yes.
For killing Lionel Brown.
Yeah, that's the way they would think.
Fergus doesn't think that way.
Fergus thinks it's his fault because he wasn't there to help Marsali when Lionel Brown
but that's
showed
a guy feeling. Any guy would think that.
I don't know. I didn't you see Kanicki's face when he left? Didn't you see
Jamie said the same thing. Jamie was like, you think Fergus feels bad? Like, how do you think I feel that I wasn't there? She said, well, I'll speak to Claire. And Claire was like, yeah, but you came and rescued us and beat everybody up and killed everybody. So
I don't know. I just took it from, I'm just going off what I saw from Fergus, and he did not seem like he liked that. He did not seem too happy with her when she told him that.
No.
And then I thought when she said, I'll have a whole man or not at all, none at all. I thought, well, aren't you kind of ripping on his hand?
That's so true.
He's sitting here with his wooden hand.
Even if he's more sober than Tom Christie, he's not going to be a whole man.
I mean, he is a whole man.
Yes, but except that he has only one hand.
Yeah, in our modern day minds, we're like, big freaking deal. But in those days,
yes, it was sort of in the same vein of Lizzie last week being like, "Oh, I need two hands to do this," like whatever. Like,
and I will have a whole man or none at all. Isn't she already kind of past that with his hand? And I have, she better watch it because Amy McCollum is on the prowl.
That's true. That's true. You don't want him, Marsali?
Yeah. She's looking for a man for herself.
She wants a man.
She wants some manses for herself.
You better watch it, Marsali. You're gonna lose that man. No, it was a great scene. It was a great scene. She's just like, she told him that Lionel Brown story, and then when she's like, I thought the devil would, like, I thought my conscience would bother me, but you know what? It doesn't. I'm all good. I'm all good, yeah. Fergus.
Yeah,
I'm all good with that choice.
Yeah,
and Fergus is just like, see him.
No, Fergus is like, oh my God, you've brought bad luck onto this family by doing something like that.
I don't think that was it. I think it was more like, I'm such a loser that my wife literally has to kill the guy herself because I couldn't do it. Like, she literally killed him herself because I'm too big of a loser to have done it for her.
And that's quite possibly it. He was not happy with it, no matter what his thoughts were. I don't think
that has anything to do with like deviling or guilty or spirits or anything like that. That doesn't strike me as.
He looked a little freaked out.
Well, yeah. I mean, hi. Who wouldn't be freaked out? What? Who wouldn't be freaked out by that? But I think he was freaked out more by like, are you kidding me? Like, freaked out just because like you don't expect that your wife is going to be like, oh, hey, yeah, I killed the dude. But only because like he's hearing it as like, I killed him because you couldn't. I protected myself and this family because you couldn't.
I didn't take it that way.
That's how I took it.
I took the first initial kidnapping of Claire and everything that way. I took as Fergus feeling like you can't go killing some guy, like, like, what have you done? But we'll see. No. We'll find out.
I guess so. All right. So Fergus needs a drink and Marsali brings him a drink and dumps it all over him and then throws him out. And that's where she says, I will have a whole man or none at all. Great scene. Those two just had such a great night tonight. Like, so good. So good. All right. So Claire has another flashback and she goes back downstairs to get her stash, but she forgot that Tom Christie's in the stash room.
The flashback gets me big time.
Yeah. That one was good tonight.
The flashback, I understand that. And I was proud of her because she didn't run for the ether. But she did run for the ether, but she couldn't get it because Tom Christie was away. Well, yeah, I guess
later on when she goes in the kitchen and then she starts like some yoga breathing exercise.
Okay, maybe that.
And talks to the cat to like calm herself down. That was really good.
I just know when she saw Lionel saying she's of the devil herself, and like just that it comes out of nowhere.
Right.
The flashback comes out of, you're in the middle of doing the dishes and all of a sudden, bam, and you don't know where to put it. You don't know how to process it. You're just like, what do I do with that? All of a sudden
you're super quick. Like I think that it's like, it's boom and then it's gone. Boom.
You're right back in the situation. You're standing here in your own house on this day, and yet part of your brain is right back in that situation. Very upsetting. I thought that was done superbly.
Yeah.
When it gets into your head, it is jarring, and you just have to once again endure it. You just have to let it pass. It will pass, but you've got to, a lot of people have it a lot worse and have to learn how to let it pass, you know? So anyway, I think they're doing a fantastic job with Claire and this PTSD.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But no, she wasn't able to get her stash because Tom Christie's in the room and he's awake. She checks his hand and they have a lot of talking. There's a lot of talking in this. There's a lot of talking. What did I write down? This is where you were talking before. She's saying this or that, whatever, and he just like comes out with your hair. There's a great deal of it. And I feel like that's Tom Christie's way of saying, your hair's pretty, Claire.
I don't know. I thought he thought that was the frickin' devil's work too, because she doesn't have her damn cap on. You know, he had an issue with, why don't you wear a cap like everybody else? And she's got this giant head of hair, and I have your hair. There's a great deal of it. Is your name Tracey?
I feel like that's him noticing her physically.
Oh yeah.
And that's what he would say.
I got that from, was it this conversation? Is this when he's laying in the bed?
Yes.
And she's in the nightgown?
Yes.
This is when I was like trying to remember what went on in the book. And I was like, does he get an erection or something right now? Like, I was like, I can't remember, but is this what's going to happen? Like, cause you could see that happening and you could see him being freaked out by that and thinking she's, you know,
it's a sin.
Let's be honest.
Sure that's a sin.
This woman in a nightgown with all of her hair, and how could he not? He's living up in the ridge with nothing else going on. Why doesn't he go visit Amy McCallum?
You know, how has that not happened? He's a single dude. She's a single girl.
He's older than her.
She needs the husband to take care of her.
They come calling.
That's you know, I mean, obviously he's older than her, but like that's not rare in those parts and those times.
Mm-hmm.
That's nobody's ever explained that. That's a good call. I mean, maybe it's a little too soon. Maybe Amy is still in a mourning period and she's got to let like 6 months or something go by, and then, you know, very good call though. Yeah, there's all so Claire goes to get some food. I loved her ice box, by the way. Like, when do they have an ice box? Like, that's crazy.
I don't know, but I guess you wouldn't like me to mention the spoiler. You would do a spoiler alert right here. Is that a total pain in the butt?
It is a total pain in the butt because I don't feel like doing it.
I won't do it. I'll tell you later.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll talk about it another time. Maybe we could tack it on to the very end, and then people can just go away if they don't want to watch it.
All right.
So just put a pin in it. So yeah, the icebox was very cool, but she's talking to the cat. So of course, you know, that's going to come back to bite her someday because she's talking to the cat, but she's basically like, okay, I'll find you some milk, cat. Not like, okay, cat, like tell me the next recipe for the potion I need to make, or you know, mekalakai, or some weird cat language. It's like, I'll find you some milk. Spot. Like, who would say that to their cat? I'll find you some milk. And so Tom's like, yeah, I heard you talking to somebody, and she's like, it's the cat and it's not my familiar. And that I just howled because I was like, now the first witch trial. If Claire is at all caught doing anything with a cat at all, she's got to tack that on there. No, I was just petting the cat and it's not my familiar. No, I was just giving it milk and it's not my familiar. No, I was just, you know, I don't know, playing with this ball, tossed it this ball, and it's not my familiar. She has to say that all the time now because people think she's a witch so much that it's just like a given. Yeah. Anytime she's playing with a cat, she needs to explain it away. Right. It's hilarious. And Tom is like, no, I don't think you're a witch. I believe in witches, but I just don't think you're one. It's like, thanks, Tom Christie. Really appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks so much. Yeah. So then this whole weird conversation comes where like Tom starts saying stuff about Jamie and asking questions about Jamie, and you know, Jamie Jamie didn't really go there with a lot of the deets about why why Claire had to fix his hand, obviously. But Tom's really wondered about that. He's like, well, he probably didn't scream when you like fixed his hand, and Claire couldn't be like,
that was weird. He was like in love with Jamie for 5 minutes.
He was kind of, I couldn't figure it.
It was like hero worship.
Sort of. I wrote down, is he digging for info, trying to understand his sensibilities? Like he's really fascinated with the both of them, Tom Christie.
I think he was sort of showing a little respect and also kind of down on himself. Like Jamie didn't like yell and scream like I did. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just think he had a moment of, I'm going to let my guard down and, be cool about Jamie. I think he definitely has some kind of,
I feel like he wants to understand Jamie a little more because he feels like Jamie is of the devil. Like, not of the devil, but like, Jamie's a Catholic. So clearly he's misguided and clearly he's wrong in so many ways. And yet he has all of these really respected characteristics. He is the kind of person that Tom Christie would like to be. And Tom Christie can't understand that because he's the wrong person. How could this person who believes in this how could the stinking papist be somebody that I want to emulate and be and respect? Like, how is that? And it's like all messed up in Tom Christie's mind, I think. That's right. That's where I think he's going.
And he's got nothing to do but lay there and like think about this stuff. Right. I think he's got a bro crush.
Right. But I also think he finds Claire very interesting as well. Very interesting.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's definitely developing an interest in Claire as a person and what she does. And Tom Christie seems to me to have a liking for what he doesn't understand. He's got his whole like God and the Bible and this is the way it is and blah, blah, blah. But he, at the same time, he's fascinated by Jamie for some reasons. He's fascinated by Claire for other reasons.
It's very interesting that you should say that he has his fascination for what he doesn't understand. I wrote down something a little bit later, but like, Tom Christie has a quality that I would never expect from somebody as seemingly obstinate and set in his ways and set in his beliefs, which is that he's very self-aware. He seems very self-aware, and he seems let me see he's really about, I wrote this later, it's really about Tom and how in many ways he's super self-aware and reflective and introspective. And he has no qualms about apologizing when he thinks that he's done wrong. Or he's no qualms about saying like, I was wrong about this, or I thought this, and then this happened and I learned from it. And I learned that I this is the right way to think. So it's this dichotomy that's like just so interesting to me. That somebody who's just such a douchebag in a lot of ways, yet is really willing to go there. And I mean, who is like, he's apologizing to Claire but not apologizing for what you would think that he would apologize for.
As long as you fall under his category of okay and righteous and God-fearing or whatever, he's fine. It's those instances that like, he sees something go on and he's immediately like, you're not. Oh my goodness. Can you hear this? Can you hear it? Siri just started talking to me. I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell just happened. But anyway.
Okay. All right. So moving on. You don't have anything else to say about Tom Christie?
Just that he's a douche and he can't understand why Jamie is so good. And he was asking about Jamie's stripes, and he's still just he wants to like I don't Jamie. Know why. He wants to like Jamie. Look, we don't know a damn thing about Tom Christie's upbringing. Maybe it was his own parents. Maybe they screwed him up and made him think maybe they beat him the way he beats Malva, and he can't get out from under it. And at the same time, he wants to get out from under it because he's fascinated by these people and he likes the life they live. I don't know.
I don't know that I agree with that. I don't know that I agree with that. And we can talk about that more another time, but I feel like
I don't even need to. He doesn't deserve our it's Tom Christie's.
No, I'm interested in Tom Christie. I think he's a fascinating character. I think he thinks Claire is very interesting, and I think he feels very guilty for that, and that's why he beats Malva. I do think he has a lot of women issues.
You
clearly.
think there's not that he's sexually attracted to his daughter, but there's a note of that. There's a hint of that. The way he takes it out on Malva. He takes his own sexual repression. Is that the word I'm looking for?
I mean, no, I think he's, you know, maybe he doesn't realize it yet, but I'm sure he is sexually attracted to Claire.
And he takes his own sexual repression out on Malva.
Yes.
Because she's wicked and
because she's there.
She's there, but she's wicked. She's a girl. And let's be honest, she's got some kind of feminine wild thing happening. So,
all right. So Claire and Jamie have a little talk. Jamie talks a lot about his lonely time at Archmere.
Yeah, that I want to discuss because first of all, I want to say that she goes back to bed and I'm looking at him laying in the bed shirtless and I'm looking at the room. I'm looking at the bed. I'm looking at the room and I'm thinking, dear God, this looks just like Poldark's bedroom. That's number one. Honest to God, all I could think of was, oh my God, what was Poldark's
Demelza.
Yeah. Damn it. I can't move I'm sorry, you're covered. I can't see you. Demelza, all I could think of is there's a scene with Poldark and Demelza being in the bed together, many scenes. And oh my God, like this is exactly it. So she goes to the bed, it's Poldarkish and then the conversation about not having been touched for a long time. I'm sorry, you guys, I always have to point out stuff when I understand. That resonated with me so much when he was talking about just being in there for so long and somebody might reach out and touch you and you're like, whoa, like you're not used to being touched, and I have that written down, it could be like the doctor or something touches your back to show you something with your muscles. And you're just like, whoa, that is the strangest feeling. I haven't been touched in years. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I felt for him. I love when I understand. I love when I'm like, oh my God, I get that. I understand what Jamie's talking about because I've felt that way myself. Mm-hmm. So anyway, but I thought that was very poignant. I don't know. That's right.
I think a lot of people might think that, but don't realize that is what they're thinking. And for Jamie to verbalize it that way, people can be like, oh yeah, that's it. That's the issue.
And he was sort of, and he was sort of feeling empathy for Tom Christie too.
Mm-hmm.
In that he was basically like, well, here's what we went through. And he's looking at Tom Christie and thinking, shit, you know what I mean? Like, mm-hmm. I'm here with you and he's got no one. So head on over to Amy's cabin.
The only other thing of note there is that Claire does the math and she's like, Malva's about 18. So
yeah. Uh-huh.
He was still an Archmere then. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Moving on because we don't have too much more to go. But yeah. Okay. So we find Ian and Malva are picking reeds in the swamps. Do they use them for arrows? Are they like arrows for Ian or something? I was like, why are they using reeds? What are they doing with that?
I don't.
Somebody tell us in the chat if you know, if you're a historian like Roger and you know what they do. And again, this is why this episode is like just scene, like two-person scenes. So this one, and you learn something from every scene. And this one we saw just how conflicted both of them are and just how kind of lost in a way both of them are. Ian is like, she's like, well, you're not a Christian anymore, are you? You're not a Christian now. Like, and he's like, I don't know what I am, because again, he lives in two worlds. He lives in the world, like Jamie's world, the Fraser world, where he of Catholic and Scottish and farmer and Then he lives in the Mohawk world of not any of that stuff. And he doesn't know where he belongs. And I think Malva kind of, clearly she is fascinated by Claire and she's interested in the healing, and she doesn't want to just like, live with her father and, be one of the fisher folk and take care of her father and whatnot. She wants more. So she's kind of lost too. And, yeah, I mean, I didn't know what was going to happen with the two of them. She does touch his face, which is a big deal, I think. And you don't really know, like the way they leave it, the way they sort of fade out, they're standing very close together. Like, does something happen?
I don't know. I don't know what to think about this.
I guess we'll find out, because we don't really I don't think we see Ian anymore in the episode.
Right.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised either way, but clearly there is a connection there. Okay, so we're back with Tom. Claire's checking his hand. They talk books, and Tom. This is another instance where Tom didn't used to like novels, but Jamie would tell stories that tell like the story that a novel is based on. Fictitious. And it was entertaining to Tom, and he started to see the merits of fiction.
Right.
So we started to read them more, I guess. And Claire was like, "Oh, well, here's his book. It's Tom Jones."
Why is Claire giving him this book? I was like, what? What the hell, Claire? Like, come on. I also was that in the book?
I don't remember, but I wouldn't be surprised either way.
I just felt like Claire would know better. Like you got to ease him into it. You know what I mean?
Maybe
Give him
Claire
some
hasn't
Huck
gotten to that part
Finn.
yet.
Give him Huck Finn, and he'll be fine.
Well, I don't. What hasn't been written yet?
I just went. Wait, Huck Finn. Yeah, okay, you're right.
And B, no. I maybe Claire just hasn't finished it. She's been reading it like when she's not been able to sleep. So
give him Utopia. Wait, that's not
either.
fiction.
No. No. I think that's fiction, but I don't think it's been written yet either. I don't even know.
Utopia was
Shakespeare. How about some Shakespeare?
Okay.
How about some, Midsummer Night's Dream? That's all goofy and, fairies and shit. So, all right. So now we get to this really weird scene with Jamie and Malva.
And every time I write Malva, it comes out Melvin.
Yeah, I remember the scene from the book, and I feel like there was more setup or more of a reason for it to happen. Like they wanted to find out something about Malva, and so Jamie was like, "All right, well, I'll go." Like, they plotted something where, and maybe I'm making this up, but like I feel like there was a reason why he went to find her and have some conversation with her to find out something. Okay.
Oh, I don't know. I just thought he ran into her in the woods.
I could be totally wrong about this, but I feel like there was some sort of ulterior motive, like, or well, if I see her around, I'll ask her XYZ. But there was none of that for this. So it just made Jamie look like a big creeper, in my opinion.
Really? I just thought he was like, he said he was headed to the Green Spring.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, he was. I mean, it's not surprising that he'd run into her, but like, he just starts asking her all sorts of weird questions. Like, okay, I wrote down here, ew, why is Jamie all creeping up on her? The lads are after you in droves, or like making creepy comments. Like, no. Well, you're gonna be married really soon. The lads are all hot for you, Mama. Like, ugh. Like, I was like, what are you doing, bro?
I wasn't bothered by that. I thought he was headed to the Green Spring. He ran into her. She's doing what she's doing. What's she looking for, mushrooms or something? Yes. And Claire had just brought it up the night before about when he was in Ardsmuir, her father, and, when she was born or whatever, and her mother. And so he just, was like, it's Jamie. It's Mr. All Is Well. He was just making conversation, but also like, you know, he's kind of like a golden retriever in a way. He's just really sweet. He's just asking questions. And I didn't think it was creepy.
I feel like the lads are after you in droves is really like, you know.
Yeah, but he sees
icky.
her. I
To
thought
say to her, to say to a young girl when you're like a 45-year-old dude
he's
1775.
He's older than 45, my friend. He turned 50 back at the gathering.
Oh, true that. Okay, when you're 50.
He's seeing a young girl and being like almost, you know, like not grandfatherly, but he's not that much older than her, but he's seeing her as like a young kid. And, you know, the same way I would say to my own son, like, oh, you look good
but that's
today,
different.
like,
It's your son. It's your son. This is like the daughter of somebody he's not even that close to. Like, it just was weird to me. And for some reason, I remember this conversation making sense in the book, a little more sense. And it just didn't, it felt very out of context in this. And it just was weird. It just was weird to me. So maybe it's just me.
And that's your prerogative. Some
Jamie
people
was very
will
nosy.
Some people will comment.
Nosy.
Some people will comment, be like, "Yep, totally agree."
Let us know if you thought this was kind of a creeper scene.
I just thought he was shooting the shit, and that's basically what you say. She's a young girl, but old enough. She's not a kid anymore. And let's be honest, they marry him off at that point, and he's the laird. So
he's not his name isn't Yenta. You know, it's not.
The men did a lot of that, not running around matchmaking, but our own grandparents.
Yes, but he's certainly
were set up because their fathers met on a train and said, "I've got a daughter, you've got a son, let's go."
Do you really think that Jamie thinks that Tom Christie is all like, well, maybe the laird will find you a husband? No. Tom Christie would be like, Jamie thinks Tom Christie would be like, any husband Jamie Fraser would find my daughter is the devil spawn.
I think that Jamie is, number one, not even that far into it right now, and it's just making conversation. But I absolutely think that Jamie's, you know, getting a what do you want to call it? I mean, he's the ridge that colony came to mind, and that's the wrong word. But I did not at all. And I think that he has a soft spot in his heart for Malva and Alan, because he knows that Tom's a kookadook. So he knows that and let's be honest, he sees Malva in that house all the time with her wide eyes, wanting to help Claire. And that to me also equates to wanting to get the hell away from her father. So that makes sense. I do see him. I don't think he put a whole lot of thought into it, though. I don't think he's been like, who are we going to hook Malva up with? But, you know, just making conversation, digging around a little, because Claire opened his eyes to something when they were having a conversation. And, you know, the lads are chasing you. That's just like a thing.
It was just a little weird. It was a little hashtag me too of 1775 for me, but like, whatever. No, your points are well taken.
Me too. He didn't attack her or something. What the hell?
I think that the lads are after you in droves is kind of an icky comment for 1775.
I have the exact opposite. I think maybe in today's world that might be a little bit like, what's that about, if you don't know somebody well enough? But back then, being laird of the land and thinking, you know, and totally innocent. It's Jamie. He's so innocent like that. Like, you know, the whole world is horses and farming, and you know what I mean?
Let's tell us what you think in the comments. Tell us what you think. I don't know. It just was weird to me. It was a little weird. It can be weird.
That's fine. That's fine.
It can be weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Tom Christie reads the book, starts the book, and it's a dirty book. It's dirty. It's, you know how it's so funny. They show parts of it, and like I watched it a couple times, and I freeze framed the words that I could read them.
You mean
the first time I watched them? it's such because they write the S's like kind of weird, like F's.
It looked
but
like
yes, it looked like another dirty word.
yeah.
That I can understand why Tom was like, "Oh, you're a dirty bird.
You dirty bird."
But
Got
no,
the
that
babes.
actually says such. But it does talk about like a hunger and I don't know what. There was a couple words in there that it's like for Tom Christie, it would definitely offend his delicate sensibilities.
Yeah.
So he's just like, he's not having it anymore with that book. But let's move on to Quarter Day, shall we?
Yes.
And Lizzie and the twins.
The rents are too damn high. Ooh, Lizzie.
What's that when it went up to Jamie's table like, the rent's too damn high.
You guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google the rents are too damn high and hit video and you'll see. I was a little creeped out by, I don't know, and I have a hard time. Like, I was just sitting there like, why couldn't you have gotten two? I love that guy. He's such a good actor. Like the whole Kezi.
Oh, you want real twins?
I want real twins. I want two. Because you know why? Because it's distracting. They're very, very good. There's nothing wrong with it. But it's
you're totally fascinated by the camera angles and like where's the double? Yeah,
I'm watching
there.
Kezi's down here. I'm seeing his face. And who's the other one?
Joe.
Joe is walking up the stairs. I'm looking at his back and I'm like, well, here's the same guy. What? Yeah,
I know. It's
distracting.
It's like the Fergus and Marsali thing from last week with Fergus and Maz. It's like how they really, and I read somebody in the comments said, and I think I read an article or whatever. It was a prosthetic. It was not her real boob. It was not her real boob. It was not her real boob.
It wasn't a stand-in, but it wasn't her real boob.
It was a prosthetic. Yes.
I was like, I guess if you don't want to be naked on screen, then you're going to have that written in. But it just seems so dumb. Like,
well, I mean, I gotta say, there's a difference between being naked on screen and having a guy suck your boob on screen.
But it's Fergus. Who cares? I'd be like, oh, I don't need that. As long as you get me in
my contract at all.
Fergus. Hashtag Fergus.
Step away.
I'm sorry, but that scene, if any of you are book readers and have been with us for a long time, remember I went pretty nutso. I know I have a post about Fergus Lamont. It's weird though, because I couldn't find the term Fergus Lamont.
We used to do
I think we came up with it at chat.
We used to do a weekly chat before there was any of this with the show or whatever. And people were like, well, we would have done about it all the time. We had a weekly chat on Monday nights. Some of you will remember. It was super fun, but we had to stop it because once the show started, all we did was other stuff.
It was just too much.
It was too much. But anyway, I think in the talking, and some night in mob chat, we came up with Fergus Lamont just like randomly.
I know Christy was involved in that too. Christy loved it.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I know I have a post about that scene in there somewhere because I'm sorry, but that's one of the top 3.
Oh yeah.
That's right up there with Watch Sassenach.
Okay, let's buzz through the rest of this because I'm sure this is going to be 2 hours at this point.
Fergus, I have something to say about this. Are you going to do that scene?
So, well, yeah. All right, Lizzie and the twins are super cute, whatever. So Fergus is loaded. The fisher folk, when they leave the house, and Fergus, then they see, or they're I guess they're like outside and Fergus comes out. The side eye on them is like hilarious.
Yeah.
They think Henri-Christian is the devil. The lady's like, no, he's grotesque. And God bless Fergus. He's like, and then he's like, and God bless Lizzie too, because Lizzie's all like, she started it. It was her. It was
Thank
all
God
her.
for Lizzie. I said the same thing. Thank God she came along and said what happened. But I just couldn't believe that Fergus is allowed to punch an old man 3 times and just go sleep it off, Fergus. Like that type of, okay, go away, Fergus. And I'm like, my man just punched that old man like 3 times.
Dude, Fergus's child nearly killed the other child. And it was like, here, have some honey cake.
Honey and bread. I was like, honey and bread. I gotta try that. Yeah, couldn't believe it. What did he do to the woman? What did he do to the woman?
He threw whatever the hell was in his
drinking her face. That was fantastic. And wasn't it Roger?
My wife, so
was it Roger who's like, all right, Fergus, you go. Who was standing there? And I thought to myself, anyway, keep going. Yeah.
I don't even know. All right. So the funny thing is when they're all at the sort of the standoff, and I have to think about how this went down. Oh, I know. Like, so Fergus is really drunk, and the woman, I think, is like, liquor is the devil's juice. Don't you agree, Mr. Christie? And he's all like, so funny.
I swear to God, and I'm now like, I'm inventing, like, Brie, just call me Brie. I'm inventing t-shirts in my head. Devil's juice is gonna happen with wine glass.
Oh my God, it was so funny. All right, so moving on, we see Roger in the Little House on the Prairie, her church.
Giving a very fitting.
Like, where's Reverend Alden? Is he not available today?
Don't make me Pa Engel's wheezy laugh. Yes.
No. Roger is really warming up to this. I'm the pastor. I am the minister, or whatever he is. Role, because he told his sermon was about a baby that floated in a basket on the river, and all the kids are like, oh, shit. And he's like, and his name is Moses. And then the kids are like,
thank God. We're gonna get more bread and cake.
So then Roger, this becomes this little like monologue that Roger does over a bunch of different things that happened. Tom Christie returns the filthy whore book with a note to Claire that, like, you filthy whore, this is disgusting and I hate you now.
Oh my God. Oh my God. This is filth. I thought better of you, but see, I think there's more to it than that. I think he's really not starting to fall for Claire, but he's enjoying Claire's company. And that was in my mind, and I'm probably reaching, but it was like a way of like, all right, I'm going to put her back at arm's length where she belongs. You know what I mean? But like,
no, I think
he was disgusted by what he was reading in the book by such.
Well, but why was he disgusted? He was disgusted because he feels that way.
It made him feel something between her and her nightgown and all the hair and the book and the conversation. He's like, oh, damn.
He read the book and he was like, he understands the feeling of the character, but at the same time, he's like, no, that's wrong. It's a sin. And whose fault is it? The devil woman. Such with a big S. Yep. So that's there you go. And then, we see under the Roger sermon and the music, we see Marsali spinning. Fergus is brooding as he's wont to do. And then we sort of see Jamie kind of come upon Fergus, and then we see Fergus cut his wrist. Hold it. Did I skip something? You skipped Malva bent over while Tom Christie. Well, I'm like, is this the same punishment from like 2 weeks ago? That he's like, oh, Claire fixed my hand. So now, this is a to be continued punishment. Yeah. Now I'm going to come back to you and finish the job. Like, what the hell? I feel like. Did you see the look on her face? Yeah, it was just like, Just tell me when it's done.
And more than that, she almost like likes it.
Well, no, because, you know, again, think back to Malva doesn't make a sound. Okay. And Tom Christie could not sit through that, you know, literal pain inducing thing.
Oh yeah. She took it.
Tom Christie, the minute the knife goes in, is like
what's, you know, yeah. What's the saying? Like a man. Well,
right.
She took it like a man, and he didn't.
Right. So she's like, I'll be damned if I scream. No way. No way. No way.
Well, I also think in his defense, she didn't have her hand cut. He
wasn't sticking a knife in her ass. I think that's a pretty regular occurrence. Like it might have been the to be continued, but I gotta think that like it's not rare.
And Alan is watching and
is watching and he's very upset.
He's upset. He doesn't know if he's more upset for Malva or for his career, because he's way better than standing around with a sad look on his face. I'm blown away by the unuse of Alexander. I'm just like, there's got to be more coming. I've said it a million times. We're only on episode 3. So.
Yes, I'm sure. And like I said, in the books, he's not the biggest character in the books. Like she's a way bigger character in the books than he is. All right.
So Jamie sees Fergus heading into the woods. I didn't know where he was going. I was like, oh, maybe Fergus is just gonna, I don't know.
Does Fergus cut himself in the books?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I sort of thought he tried to hang himself, but maybe he wasn't able to because he only had one hand. I don't really remember.
And Jamie gave him that lovely talk.
Oh, yes.
He held the family together.
Yes.
He distilled this amazing whiskey with one hand.
I wrote down when Jamie says, you know, Fergus is like, how can I take care of Henri-Christian? How can I, like, you know, show him what to do or how to be or whatever? And Jamie's like, you're the only one that you're the only one who can show your son what a useless man like you can achieve.
Exactly.
Because that's what they have in common. They both have some sort of a physical something debilitating about themselves physically, or a physical challenge. And Fergus is the only person in their surroundings who Henri-Christian will be able to relate to in that regard, you know? And that was just so smart on Jamie's part. All is forgiven, Jamie. You're back in the fold after your bad, you know, this was once they get to be adults, then you're good with them. Then you can be around them. But like little children, let Marsali discipline them. There's a whole lot of cutting of flesh in this episode. It was like we just saw it all. It was whatever. But yeah, so clearly Claire like stitches him up again. You know, Claire is probably going to Cross Creek to get more thread now, or making Marsali spend some, because
Marsali, get in there and use Bree's invention.
But when they bring him home and Marsali's there with the baby,
I love that baby. I want that baby. I want that baby.
That baby is super cute. It's just like, just lose shit.
Walk back to the house after Claire obviously fixes his arm. Major McDonald is there.
There's one little part left. Major McDonald shows up. He's got a load of guns. He's like, here's all the guns, because, you know, Boston Tea Party happened and we're going to need all the men we can get. And what does
my girl say? It's starting.
It's starting.
And here's me. I have 2 things at the same time, one on one side, one on the other, colliding in my brain. One is Turn Washington Spies, one of the greatest shows ever that I think I'm going to have to watch again.
Which is now on IMDb.com. IMDb TV.
It is? Ooh, I don't have that. I missed that.
I think it's free. I have it on my Fire Stick. I watch Mad Men on it.
I have that in my head, but I also have I think it was only 1 season show that was so damn funny, called Making History. I think it was Making History. Look it up. It was a quick season. I don't know why they didn't continue because this show was so damn funny, but it was about the Revolutionary War. And some of the jokes in this thing were fantastic. So look them both up. I'm going to go back and watch them both, I think.
Carol, your thoughts quickly on this episode as a whole. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What did you think?
I liked it because I am an Outlander reader and have already read the books and love it all. But it was, you have to appreciate Outlander. Hopefully, you know, put it this way. If you've made it this far, if you're at season 6 and you haven't read the books, but you like the show enough that you've made it to season 6, I think you'll be okay. It's just, it's like Tracey said, the acting in this thing was superb, and it's just a more calm episode. And you know, the calm before the storm, you know, that means there's a lot more coming that, you know, but I loved it. I shouldn't say I loved it. I mean, it wasn't like, you know, oh my God, but it was a solid episode that I enjoyed.
I think there's a lot from the book, a lot more from the book. You know, I think that readers will be happy. It was a bit slower, not too much, you know, action happened, but I think that you got a lot of character development. You got a lot of understanding of characters, and maybe you got a lot of like interactions of characters that hadn't interacted before. So it was interesting to see that. And I think a lot was set up. So I think we learned a lot about people now that moving forward we'll need to know once the action does start really happening. Right. That's my thought.
It's only episode
so I really
3.
enjoyed it as well.
Good. It's only episode 3, so there's definitely stuff.
Yeah, we got a ways to go. All right, we have been talking way too long. Thank you if you have made it to the end here. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please. There should be a little button right over there where Carol's sitting, right around where you would like push to get a drink in her fridge. Instead, push the button to subscribe.
Yes.
And now your fridge just went on. Like the fridge just went on as if to say, yes, the fridge says to subscribe.
I don't know if I want the fridge. I'm like, oh no, people are going to not like that because I can see it as in my computer screen going, blah, 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 you know, when you see a screen and a screen. Anyway, guys.
So subscribe, find us on myoutlanderpurgatory.com, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We haven't done anything with TikTok yet, but we will someday. Like we'll figure it out. Don't worry.
I think that TikTok might be making its debut maybe next month in another country. I'm just gonna leave it there.
All right, way to go.
Okay,
guys,
have a great week.
Let us know what you let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you next week.